The show is on. Start your engines.
Hello everybody and welcome to the third event in the ETRC Digital Championship. This evening we are at a virtual Le Mans and looking forward to what promises to deliver two more excellent races. Norbert Kish comes here as the championship leader, but only with a 3-point advantage in the title race, with Manuel Alvarez being the nearest opposition. He was mighty at the Nürburgring. Indeed, he's looked really promising across the two events we've had thus far, not only the Nürburgring, but in Hungary as well. Lucas Harne, third in the championship, looking for that maiden win. Jose Villa, currently fourth, ahead of Sasha Lentz, and then Jonathan Andre. The Le Mans circuit, of course, normally finds itself towards the back end of an FIA ETRC championship calendar, and indeed it's pretty much the case here again as we get to the business end of the championship, with one more event still to come after this. Remember that on the 7th of March there will be the races at Harne, and it's all building up really nicely indeed for what promises to be not only a great brace of races tonight, but also a really good outcome for the championship. You've got to say, Norbert Kish having a much tougher time of it this year than he did last season. Now, Norbert Kish, remember, has been a race winner already in the championship so far this season, but it's certainly not all been plain sailing. Norbert Kish and Jose Villa were the drivers who won at the Hungaroring. Norbert Kish and Manuel Alvarez, another of the newcomers this year, the winners at the Nürburgring, Le Mans and Harne still to come. It's going to be fascinating to see what pans out this evening. So they've had practice. Superpole is the first focus of attention when the trucks hit the track. We have one new driver to welcome to the championship for hopefully not just this evening, but Harne as well. That is Robin Krytoff, who is at the Rainbow Warrior Scania's helm. His father used to race. Robin himself fell in love with the sport, went off to be a mechanic, and now goes racing, at least virtually. In contrast, though, we lose the Freightliner, hopefully not for the championship, but just for today. Theo Calve, the regular driver, not here, not able to take part. His father, Fabien, was 50 yesterday, and I suspect the party might still be ongoing, and that's the reason offered as to maybe why Theo has other priorities for the purposes of this evening at least. So we are without the French driver on home soil, sadly, but we do have, in contrast, as I say, Robin Krytoff taking his bow in the championship. Right, let's get to the track. Norbert Kish then, with the Revesh TRT MAN, always a driver worth keeping an eye to, always somebody very, very good in the qualifying sessions. And let's see what he's going to be able to do over the course of this session. We have a best lap time cancellation already for crossing the white line, and that is for Stefan Kirsch, another of the relative newcomers. We welcomed him to the championship last time out, so Stefan Kirsch has lost a lap time. More from race control, no doubt, as the session wears on. Up then through the Dunlop curve goes Norbert Kish. Manuel Alvarez currently is second in the times. Sasha Lentz third. And Norbert Kish here trying to get the road to himself as he goes up towards La Chapelle here, down towards the hairpin. But unfortunately for him, he's got quite a lot of traffic around him on the road. So this, as you see Manuel Alvarez go through now, Manuel at the moment is second fastest. Drives, remember, the only Mercedes in the entry, the Mercedes Actros, comes then now from La Chapelle down to Le Musée, and then that left-hand hairpin takes you to Garage Vert, turn 6, the right-hand hairpin, so you've got this almost paperclip style infield to the circuit. And he's being chased at the moment by fellow countryman Jose Villa up towards the completion of the lap, because from Garage Vert they go through Chemin au Boeuf and then down towards the S of Garage Bleu, up towards the completion of the lap. Very shortly will come the Spanish driver. Is that going to put him ahead of Norbert Kirsch? Sasha Lentz is currently third fastest, and Robin Krytoff has made a good start to the session. Fourth, there is Sasha Lentz. Now, we've not yet really seen the best out of Sasha within the championship so far this year. A fourth, a third, and two more fourths have been the results, but we know he's better than that. He was a race winner last year. Avoids pit-in as he comes down towards Raccordement. So that takes you from the Bugatti circuit back onto the regular, familiar Le Mans circuit, up past the grandstands. And of course, it's a long pit straight. There is the timing line, but you've got your foot nailed to the board still on the climb towards the Dunlop curve, which might at least actually take away some of those dramas that we've got used to seeing at the start of races. We've had, of course, red flags aplenty in the championship thus far, with people tripping over one another on lap one. Here is Robin Krytoff coming then down now towards the completion of the lap, but let's see what the Rainbow Warrior Scania is able to do here. He's looking pretty good thus far, fourth fastest, as he comes then from La Chapelle down towards the end of the lap with a little bit of traffic up the road, but nothing too serious, I don't believe, at the moment. This is his view. So down through turns 7 and 8, all over the curb, through Chemin au Boeuf he goes, and then on the power down towards Garage Bleu. All of this section, of course, used as parking and camping for the 24 hours of Le Mans. And the S itself is quite a long S, so that's the right, there's the left, and then having just about got the rig straight, you've got to stand on the anchors down towards Raccordement and turn through another hairpin. Effectively, it's right and right again. There were two bites at that corner and a very sideways. Robin Krytoff accelerates up towards the line. I don't think he's necessarily going to be an improver on this lap, but fourth still looks pretty good ahead of Lucas Harne. He stays fourth fastest, goes over the timing line, and Robin Krytoff then now makes that climb up towards the Dunlop curve, which in turn takes you towards the Dunlop chicane. So there you've got that long, long right. Road still climbing at this point. Fourth gear, turn left, turn right. You can ride the curbs to an extent, but you don't want to get done for corner cutting. And Robin Krytoff in the Scania then hustles on under the Dunlop bridge down towards La Chapelle. There's a little kink there. And this is the hairpin itself that takes you then from the circuit that you would then go out towards Maison Blanche for the 24-hour race, onto the Bugatti circuit, the short circuit here, the club circuit if you like. So through La Chapelle down towards the Musée. There, Robin Krytoff pressing on in the truck in the Rainbow Warrior colours that the Kees Zandbergens have run, junior and of course senior. Kees Zandbergen senior, who started carrying those colours way back in the mid-1980s when truck racing suddenly became the big business that it is now. So the Scania, rare to see the colours in a sense on a cab over rather than a bonneted rig, but he comes up then now from Garage Vert, and now that long back straight down towards the chicane at 7 and 8, Chemin au Boeuf. So ahead of him on the road, you've got number 94, that being the Ivan Rodriguez MAN. The Portuguese driver turns through. But for the moment, Krytoff looking as though this is going to be another decent lap for him. He's staying fourth fastest, so although Norbert Kirsch remains at the top of the times, what's going on behind is that it is Alvarez from Lentz, from then the driver you're looking at here, the Dutchman, Robin Krytoff. Lucas Harne and Jonathan Andre round out the top 6 at the moment. Now, what about Lucas Harne? Can he go yet faster? There going through is Manuel Alvarez, who is second fastest. Let's try and keep an eye, though, to Lucas Harne, who's not been racing for that long, but has, again, been a driver making a big impact within the Digital Championship this year, because Lucas has had 3 second places and a 5th, but surely that maiden win cannot be far away. The Iveco then comes down here into the S's through turns 9 and 10. It's a Garage Bleu. And Lucas Harne is back onto the bar, up towards Raccordement and the end of the lap. Now, is this going to be an improvement for him? Let us see. He backed right out of it, lets the traffic go. He doesn't want to get in people's way, nor does he want to have to think about perhaps getting caught up in anybody else's lap when he's trying to go for his own. So let's Jonathan Andre go by. There is Jonathan crossing the timing line in the Lion Truck Racing Team MAN. Lucas Harne drops back behind him, but there's enough real estate between the two to enable Lucas Harne now to go for a quick lap as they make the run up towards the Dunlop curve here. There's Jonathan Andre, who comes here 6th in the championship, out of the Dunlop chicane, turns 2 and 3, onto the power, under the Dunlop bridge, over the brow. That's where there's that little kink in the road, and as soon as you've done that, you've got to set the truck up for La Chapelle through the hairpin that loops you onto the Bugatti circuit here. So just over a minute here of the Super Pole to go. And it is from this course that we will get the grid. But right now it looks as if it is going to be Norbert Kish, good for pole position. Manuel Alvarez currently 2nd in the times, as hustling on here is Manuel Alvarez, the Mercedes then, which has looked really competitive all season. Sasha Lentz good at the moment for 3rd on the grid, ahead of Krytoff, then Harne and Jonathan Andre to round out the top 6. Quick look further back, Jose Villa only 7th at the moment, which is a bit of a surprise. Pedro Marco is 8th. 9th is Henry House. 10th is current Bjorn House. So the brothers together. After that, you've got Antonio Albacete ahead of Stefan Kirsch, with Ivan Rodriguez 13th in the times. 14th currently is number 12. That is Lucas Rival. And it is Ferry van Drunen at the foot of the order for the moment. Now that gives us 15 as the flag comes out then to end qualifying. That's the end of Super Pole. Remember that number 3, which is the truck of Stefan Kirsch, lost its earlier best lap. But the session is an end then. And Norbert Kish has been again. So how does it feed into the balance of the championship? Every Super Pole so far, it has been Norbert Kish that comes out on top. He has done it again. So Norbert Kish for pole position then. But are we done for the grid? Manuel Alvarez currently 2nd fastest. What about Sasha Lentz? 3rd he is. Is he going to improve as he comes up to take the flag? No, 3rd he will stay. And Robin Krytoff here, a really encouraging 4th on his debut. So Robin Krytoff looking good, 4th quickest. On this last lap, he's managed to find himself, I think, in a little bit of traffic, to be fair, but he might not be too badly compromised. It might also be that he thinks, no, actually, this is a lap not worth continuing with. We shall see. No, he is still pressing on. So as others go for the pit lane, as others bail from the session, there's only really Krytoff, Pedro Marco and Bjorn House still to take the flag. Up through the S. Then comes Krytoff. It's going to be a last gasp improvement for him. Let's find out then, because he's on the power. Makes the run up now towards the timing line and bails. Comes into the pit lane. So after all of that, Robin Krytoff does, if you like, abandon ship, abandons the session, comes in. And so at the end of qualifying, Norbert Kish has done it again. He is the man then that will line up on pole position. There is 25. Marco, slightly puzzled as he has gone back out of the pit lane when the session is at an end. However, I'm sure there will be a plan here. Now, looking at the times, looks as though Jose Villa's name has just dropped to the very foot of those times. So we'll double check with race control as to whether there is a reason for that. It might just be that he's disconnected, ready to go back to the server, and therefore falls out of the list of drivers. So we'll double check once the grid is formed, but provisionally Norbert Kish and Manuel Alvarez will be on the front row of the grid. 25 minutes plus 1 lap, the usual duration for these races. And of course, the first lap, although it's behind the pace truck, will count within the 25 minutes. Hence, you get that regulation lap tagged on at the very end. An interesting grid with Lucas Harne on the 3rd row, a driver with a bit of work to do. But Alvarez lining up alongside Norbert Kish. That could be a really interesting run down towards the first corner. So the first race is not that far away. Won't be many minutes before the drivers will rejoin the server, get themselves ready for race 1 of 2 here at Le Mans. And fingers crossed, we're going to be able to get through the opening corner, and indeed not just turn 1, but then the chicane, the S's, turns 2 and 3, without the usual dramas that have rather blighted the first couple of rounds of the championship. And the race director, Rolf Werner, has again in the drivers' briefing notes, and I'm sure on TeamSpeak, been reminding drivers that you cannot win at the first corner, but you can certainly lose, and try and get that driver discipline message through to the pack. So we are getting set, ready for our 5th race of the season with the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge. And let's remind ourselves of some of the star drivers and indeed what they drive. So Norbert Kish is the championship leader. He's the reigning champion. And indeed, of course, he's also a driver who has real world championships to his name, having been the effective 2020 champion. But also, of course, he was the 14 and 15 champion. Norbert Kish came from sim racing into cars, began in Opel Astras, then went to the Hungarian Clio Championship, won that. Double Seat champion. Then he won in Suzuki Swifts. But from 2011 onwards has really made a name for himself in truck racing, be it real or indeed be it virtual. Norbert Kish, then, he leads the championship. He has taken 2 race wins, and he's going to start this 5th race of the year from pole position. He is the man they all have to beat. Aboard number 3 is Stefan Kirsch, then. So Stefan driving for the Kirchscheid Racing Squad. He comes from the Dutch Truck Racing Championship, a master in metalwork, now a co-owner, a managing director of an earth-moving company. Always liked motorsport, did a bit of off-roading in his time, and when family members mechanic for truck racing teams at the Nürburgring event, the bug bit. He bought his own race truck in 2019 from Holland, made his debut last year in the real world, racing at the Lausitzring and at Zolder, and it's great to have Stefan Kirsch, the German driver, in the championship. Manuel Alvarez, somebody else that has joined us this year. He's done a bit of Clio racing in his time. In fact, had a rather large accident in that last season, which affected him a little, but he's done a touch of off-road racing as well. But it's in the Spanish Truck Racing Championship that has really brought him to prominence. So far this year, a race win, a 2nd, and a couple of 3rd places. So he's been everywhere on the podium and comes here not only 2nd in the championship, 2nd on the grid, but really taking the championship battle to Norbert Kish. Manuel Alvarez then starting 2nd on the grid, 2nd in the championship, going into this 5th race. What about this man, Lucas Rival? He's going to be on the penultimate row of the grid here with the Renault. The French driver then comes from Albi, where there used to be a very good circuit, and started off in endurance saloon car racing back in 2019. Last year, he drove in the French Truck Racing Championship with 5th as his best result for Team AMR in the Renault. Lucas Rival aboard number 12. Number 15, Henry Tyhouse, one of the 2 Tyhouse brothers, an occasional racer within the British Truck Racing Association events, as well as the FIA ETRC for Team EK Truck Race in the Scania. Henry Tyhouse very evenly matched with his brother lining up alongside him on the grid going into this race. The 2 of them lock out the 5th row, and Henry Tyhouse comes into race 5 in the championship, 11th in the championship standings. So the Scania driver, one to watch, and Henry Tyhouse with brother Bjorn as the main driver he needs to perhaps focus on in order to keep the family feud or the family battle going his way. He will, as I say, start on row 5. Now, what about Marco Klingelhoefer? He, I fear, might be missing from the grid. Didn't see his name on that qualifying ranking, but assuming he's there, Marco Klingelhoefer, whose father was a truck driver, he did a bit of karting, always wanted to race trucks, and then founded the Maddox Truck Racing Squad. His Iveco is there in the pseudo Rothmans colours, and the German driver who's done quite a bit of sim racing last year during lockdowns, getting quicker and quicker each time he is on track. But fingers crossed he's going to be there this evening. Aboard number 22 is Lucas Harne, then third generation truck racer. His father Jochen, multiple European champion, grandfather the late Conny Harne, of course also a champion, and Lucas debuted at the 2019 German Truck Grand Prix in the Mittelrhein Cup, and was very competitive indeed, did occasional ETRC digital races last year. And the Harne Racing Iveco comes to Le Mans third in the championship, and Lucas Harne has had 3 second places. As I said earlier on, that maiden win surely cannot be far away. Fifth on the grid is Lucas Harne, leaving himself with a bit of work to do, whereas Antonio Albafetti is going to line up on the 6th row, 11th after qualifying. The hugely experienced Spanish driver then, who was ETRC champion back in 2005, in 2006 and also in 2010, but began in Formula Ford 1600, then Formula 3, then Formula 3000, then Spanish touring cars with the Super Touring era. Antonio Albafetti, always one to watch. We had him on the podium at Le Mans last year. Can he repeat that maybe in race 2 with that semi-reversed grid? Aboard number 25, another driver new to the Digital Championship this year, and that is Pedro Marco, who has raced in the French and the Spanish championships. Went well at Nogaro last year with the Murcia Racing truck MAN, Spanish driver who has also in the past raced in the FIA ETRC events at where else but Jarama. And Pedro Marco, great enthusiast and one to watch as he tries to work his way up then for the first race, in fact, the 4th row of the grid, lining up alongside Jose Villa. So the 2 Spanish drivers toe-to-toe. And that's evidence, I think, of Pedro Marco getting quicker each time out, more and more competitive each time out as well. Aboard number 30 is Sasha Lentz. He lines up 3rd on the grid, and he is 5th in the championship going into this first race. The 33-year-old in the SL Truck Sport MAN began doing Mittelrhein Cup events and BTRA, the British Truck Racing Association events, but moved from 2011 onwards into the FIA ETRC. Took his first win in 2018. He was a winner in the Digital Championship last year, and I think could be another man to watch over the course of this evening. It's not been a great start to the season for Sasha Lentz, but keep an eye to him because you can never discount him. Number 51, Bjorn Tijhuis with the truck racing team Krytoff, and the Dutch driver, who talked about his brother already, another ETRC and BTRA regular. So Bjorn Tijhuis, a driver to watch, lining up then as he is on the outside of the 5th row of the grid here. Jonathan Andre has perhaps had a disappointing start to the championship season. 6th is number 66, the French driver, who is the team manager of the Lion Truck Racing team. The Lyon-based squad took over from Anthony Gignac last year and took 7 podiums, but yet to score an ETRC digital win. Can he do that on home soil? Well, he starts race 1 on row 3. Maybe race 2 might fall into his lap. Let's wait and see. There's 81, which is Ferry Drunen, the Dutch driver, regular in Dutch events with the Drunen Truck Racing Scania. Began in a rather really bonneted Scania, but switched to the cab over and has been getting more and more competitive each time out in the ETRC digital races. And Van Drunen, sadly though, for race 1 at least, he's going to be on the back row of the grid. 94 is Ivan Rodriguez, whose father was the president of the VTR team for a while, then the Luxo Sport Racing team. Ivan only started in 2019, but did take a pole at Le Mans that season. Lots of sim experience, so a little bit disappointing that he's on the penultimate row of the grid. But when we go racing, I reckon he should be able to make some progress forward with Luxo Sport Racing team MAN. And that takes us to a man with a win and 3 fifth places, Jose Villa, who is a little bit further back on the grid than you might have expected. Only 7th for Jose. He's 4th in the championship, and Jose Villa then one to watch. His father raced in the Spanish championship, and has also Jose himself done some club level touring car races. He won the Spanish Truck Championship title in 2019 and has done quite a lot of sim racing as well, both in cars as well as trucks. So he will be a driver to watch. Again, he's got to make progress early in the race, trying to get himself up through the traffic. Jose Villa then, who comes here fourth in the championship. So there, a look at the drivers that are set to do battle around another really demanding circuit. It's got some fast-flowing sections, yes, but it's got those really tight hairpins. And, of course, as we've seen in the past, the turn 9 and 10S at Garage Bleu, always a danger point because you've got that long run down towards the S's itself. If it all goes right, you look a hero. If it goes wrong, you could take people off with you. Racing coming up. First, though, there is the Ford F-Max lap of the circuit. So we are getting set for race one then here at Le Mans, and as the drivers join the server, so the grid starts to take shape. Sasha Lentz, I think, is a little bit late on parade. Can't see the green and black MAN there just yet, but you'll see Norbert Kish there in the red MAN on pole position. Manuel Alvarez with him for company. Sasha Lentz not there yet, but hopefully he'll be third on the grid with Robin Krytoff ready to line up alongside. Then the third row, Lucas Harne on the inside. Jonathan Andre aboard 66 MAN for company. Then there will be, there he is, 99, the yellow MAN of Jose Villa, and 25 Pedro Marco alongside him. Family tie-highs next, with Henry on the inside and Bjorn on the outside of the grid. Aboard 23 is Antonio Albafetti, and alongside him, number 3 is, or should have been, Stefan Kirsch. Now he has gone back a slot relative to Ivan Rodriguez, presumably for that lap time cancellation. So a change there. Rodriguez goes forward a row, Kirsch goes back to join Lucas Rival. There you have Ferry van Drunen, and 19 Klingelhoefer is there. So that's the good news to come from that. So we have one switch around on the grid because of Stefan Kirsch losing his best lap time. And Ivan Rodriguez goes forward a space, but Marco Klingelhoefer does indeed get to the grid. Now, do we have Sasha Lentz good to go as well? Fingers crossed that he is going to be there as we get set. Then ready for race one, the 25 minutes plus 1 lap duration of this 4.1 kilometre long circuit. 25 minutes plus a lap, and Rolf Werner, the race director, is ready to give the instruction for the drivers to get going. There's barely any wind, clear skies within the platform that we're operating here, the Assetto Corsa platform. Temperature is in the low 20s, track temperature around 30 degrees. So the drivers are ready to go, I think, as the pace truck shortly will rumble away from the line, ready to get race one underway. So it will be the pace truck to set off now then, as the clock starts ticking. Race effectively underway, because this counts within those 25 minutes. Then, as I say, to compensate for that, you get that regulation lap tagged on at the very end. So Norbert Kish leads them away up then towards the Dunlop curve. There you have the Mercedes on the outside line. Ironic in a sense that Norbert Kish finds himself battling against a Mercedes, because for a couple of seasons he had a rather unsuccessful time with a Mercedes for Tank-Vorführung 20, and eventually, on the back of that frustration, decided it was time to not only move to a different rig but also to a different team. So he set up his own, and the Revesh TRT squad operating the MAN was very successful, as we saw in FIA ETRC Digital last year, and very much a force to be reckoned with, I think, when we go into real world racing once more, which hopefully will only be maybe a couple of months away. Let's wait and see. So as the pace truck comes out of La Chapelle down towards Le Musée, the front row is Norby Kish and Manuel Alvarez. Well, it's become a regular feature of this year to speak to Norby as the race one victor, but Alvarez, I'm sure, has other ideas about all of this. The second row, Sasha Lentz, is there, so he is poised, ready to take on the pack. But possibly the man to watch out of all of this could turn out to be Robin Krytoff, because he has been a real surprise. First time out to go fourth in qualifying. Could we get him onto the podium? Well, he's got to get through 25 minutes plus the lap unscathed, of course, but the pace that he's got suggests that, yes, he could do that. The trucks, then, having come from La Chapelle and Le Musée out of Garage Vert, speed builds as they come then towards the chicane at turns 7 and 8, then down towards the S du Garage Bleu at turns 9 and 10, and down to Raccordement to complete the lap then. And when the pace truck peels in, it's going to be Norbert Kish and Manuel Alvarez to control the pace. Now, of course, it's a long run from the timing line up towards turn 1, so hopefully that we won't have quite the same dramas going into the first couple of corners as we've had, say, at the Nürburgring. Here they come then out of turn 8. Short blast of acceleration. Remember, the real world trucks governed to 100 miles an hour maximum. Down towards the S of Garage Bleu, turn 9, then turn 10. It's a bit of a switchback S, this, so you turn right and you keep on turning before then you have that long left element that brings you to the end of the Bugatti circuit, because Raccordement brings you onto the traditional pit straight. I hate to use the word iconic, but it is really, even with different iterations of the pit lane and the buildings left and right. So the pace truck goes for the pit lane, and the trucks, all on Goodyear tyres, remember, a good partner to the championship, come then through Raccordement, ready to get themselves onto the pit straight. The race director, if he's happy, will give the signal that we can go racing then. And the 5th race of the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge for 2021 is go. They blast away. Who is going to make the best start? It's Norbert Kish on the inside line. Sasha Lentz goes with him. Robin Krytoff has been rather forced to get stuck in the pack on the outside line, and so has Alvarez. To a degree, he's been taken offline, and so Lentz goes through behind Norbert Kish as they power their way here up towards the Dunlop chicane for the first time. Kish leads the way, Lentz second, Alvarez back on the inside line. He leans on Lentz, but Sasha will come out ahead, will he? He's up the curve, yes, but Norbert Kish is getting away, leaving everybody else squabbling behind him. Alvarez gets run out wide, Lentz goes second, and Harne is up to third. Alvarez fourth, I reckon, but he might get mugged by Villa on the inside line. Yes, there's contact, and Harne gets turned sideways as well. Robin Krytoff is delayed, and Lucas Harne is facing the wrong way. More drama. Lucas Rival gets tagged. Robin Krytoff gets going. And with a spin, Krytoff is delayed, and that has shuffled the order. It gives Norbert Kish quite a lead at the end of only half of the first lap over Sasha Lentz in second place. But can Sasha now go after Norbert Kish? Let's see. We've heard Norbert talk this year about how you need to look after the tyres, just like you do in the real world of truck racing, because of the weight carried in these trucks. Jonathan Andre then has made progress, and so too has Jose Villa, then up from the 4th row for me to 3rd place. So he qualified 7th, and he's running 3rd. And we know that Villa can win races because he won the reverse grid race at the Hungaroring. So it's been a lively first lap. We'll update the order at the end of it and see where the likes of Krytoff and Harne have dropped to. Straight away, though, they've got to start looking now really towards race 2 and that reverse grid. The incident between Harne and Krytoff is under investigation, so race control having a look at that to see whether anybody is at fault, whether it was a racing incident, as the leaders wriggle their way here up through turns 9 and 10, heading towards the raccordement. Double apex right then up towards the end of the opening lap. It's going to be Norbert Kisch who leads the way, and potentially it's going to be Norbert Kisch who gets away. Sasha Lentz runs second then as they come up over the timing line here. Third place behind Lentz is Jose Villa, trying to close then on the race leading top two as they go up towards the Dunlop curve once again here. So Norbert Kisch leads the way. Sasha Lentz through in second place, and then you've got Alvarez trying to fight back because currently he is down in fifth. We've got that stream of yellow perils at the moment. Third, fourth, fifth. Villa ahead of Andre, ahead of Alvarez. Henry Tiehaus is going nicely in sixth spot. Seventh is Albacete. Eighth is Stefan Kirsch. Ninth is Rodriguez, and 10th is Pedro Marco. That's the order at the moment, but Norbert Kisch, you can see it's all rather inevitable. He's getting away, isn't he? It's the top 8, remember, that will get reversed for the grid going into race 2. So right now, that would put Stefan Kirsch on a pole position. Now have a look at this little battle pack, because in 12th place is Robin Krytoff, and he now is trying to get himself further up the order. Let's see whether or not he's going to be able so to do. He's closing, and he makes a move to the inside line there against Tiehaus. Against Ivan Rodriguez, forgive me. But Rodriguez fends him off for the moment. Only just, though, as they come there out of Garage Vert once more. But he's Krytoff then on the attack. An incident between Krytoff and Lucas Rival also is being looked at by race control. So more may come as the race wears on, once they've had a chance to review the evidence in all of this. So there's the race leader going out of shot, but Norbert Kisch getting away from a good battle now for second place. Sasha Lentz and Jose Villa together. Their fourth is Jonathan Andre. And their confirmation of Harne and Krytoff incident coming under investigation. So they're pairing off a little bit, and the race leader, this brings them up to the end of the lap then, over the timing line. At the end of lap 3 goes Kisch, goes Lentz, goes Villa, gap back to Andre in fourth place. In fifth then is Manuel Alvarez, and it's a huge wait then before you get anybody to be sixth, and that's Henry Tiehaus. The leaders go by then, so with last time 2 seconds being the margin, it's well over that now between first and second, between Kisch and Lentz. And Sasha Lentz in part is being delayed because he's got to defend from Jose Villa. That's playing right into the hands of Norbert Kisch as they power once again there out of the Dunlop chicane. Jose Villa takes a tighter line down towards La Chapelle. More drama here, look, because that is Lucas Harne. So he is currently in 13th place. It is Ferry van Drunen behind him, because Harne has got a lot of work to do, catch people, never mind get himself into that top 8 to luck into the reverse grid. So again, it looks like he's going to go unrewarded for the race win, but you never know for race 2. Let's see, can he charge on? Can he catch the traffic ahead? The next target is Krytoff, who in turn is on the back of Rodriguez, who is on the tail of Tiehaus. So there's a good fight going on there. And there's also, of course, time left in the race here. 16 minutes plus a lap still to run, as there Stefan Kirsch takes a rather wide line into the corner, and Pedro Marco understeers way out wide. Krytoff there gets up the inside to try and get himself past Rodriguez, and I think he's done it. They ran absolutely dead set side by side. We're looking back here from Tiehaus, and there together on the outside is Krytoff, on the inside is Rodriguez, who is going to be the last of the late breakers down to the chicane at turns 7 and 8, and it's going to surely pan out in favour of Rodriguez back on the inside. He forces Krytoff off the road and back on again, and Robin Krytoff keeps on coming. He will have the inside line for the next corner down to the first part of the Garage Bleu S's. Is that going to go the way of Krytoff? I think it does, because they're getting a bit crossed up is Rodriguez. Yes, Krytoff is alongside him. Has he made the move? No, doesn't work for him. Again, just hanging on to position, look, is Rodriguez. Now, there is a 5-second time penalty coming for Manuel Alvarez for pushing Harne that triggered the incident on the first lap of the race. So, here in this opening race, a 5-second penalty for Manuel Alvarez, pushing another truck. And Alvarez at the moment, there you can see, is in 5th place. Now, has he got enough in hand over the opposition? Let's see, because right now, Henry Tyhouse is doing the chasing. I reckon he might have still been able to overcome that 5-second penalty, but ideally he'd like to gain ground to be on the safe side of that. There is Norbert Kish, who leads the way now by 2.7 seconds. We've got 14 minutes of race 1 still to go, and Alvarez in the Mercedes is sideways. He's still pushing hard. So there comes up to have a go at Jonathan Andre. You've got Lentz hanging on to position right now for 2nd spot ahead of Villa, and there is going through Jonathan Andre, still keeping Manuel Alvarez at bay. What about the drivers that lost out because of that contact early on? Well, Lucas Harne is currently 12th, and what about Krytoff? Well, he has now dropped back, in fact, into 13th place. So Robin Krytoff's efforts to gain ground have gone against him. Incident between Krytoff and Rodriguez is being looked at. So we saw it get quite exciting. Since then, there's been an incident, and it has cost Krytoff time. Here, though, another battle rages on. Look for 4th place as Alvarez tries to get up alongside Jonathan Andre down towards turns 9 and 10. He's up the curb, tries to scramble through on the inside, but Jonathan Andre on home ground, of course. The French driver hangs on to 4th place for the moment. That clock ticks on down as Alvarez tries one side, switches across, looks for the inside, down towards there, Racordamont, turn 11, can't find a way by, turn right, up the curb, turn right again, and here, up towards the line they will come. Norbert Kish, in the meantime, leads the way. Sasha Lentz doing the chasing, 2nd spot, 2.7 seconds was the gap last time, and now it is over 3 seconds as we have got 5 laps done. Remember, we've got these just under 13 minutes of the race still to go, and then there's that regulation lap on the end. Now, Lentz is getting away from Villa. He's a little bit more secure in that 2nd place, but, of course, in so doing, Norbert Kish has got away. And there is that a drama for Jonathan Andre. He has gone straight on. Now, is that an internet connection problem, or has he just got his braking all wrong? Can he rejoin? I think he's going to be able to rejoin. So Jonathan Andre off the road and back on again, digs himself out of the gravel. And where's he going to drop to? He's going to drop just ahead of Albacete there, which will put him to round about 8th place. So Jonathan Andre, all self-induced. It looked like it was one of those moments where the internet dropped out, but he seemed to just make a mistake and go straight on there as Albacete comes under attack. Look from Untitled. Stefan Kirsch going really well here, is currently in 7th spot, just behind, in fact, the recovering Jonathan Andre. Kirsch took a 14th and a 10th at the Nürburgring, but going even better here. Albacete turns through, Untitled behind him. And Albacete, with the tail wagging a little bit there, comes out of the corner. Untitled behind him then as they come from Garage Vert down towards the S's at 7 and 8. Race control being kept busy, I tell you. The incident between Krytoff and also number 12, that being Lucas Rival. That was on that one. No further action there because that really was a spinning Krytoff with nowhere to go. So that doesn't gain any further action. Norbert Kish, in the meantime, continues to pull clear. There is confirmation of the Rival and Krytoff incident. No further action required as you look at a sideways Antonio Albacete power sliding his way down towards turn 11, and he has got there right on his tail. Number 51 then. Lighthouse comes up towards the line. Leader has already gone by, so Norbert Kish looking oh so dominant up front, over 3 seconds to the good from Sasha Lentz, and then in 3rd place Jose Villa. Now 4th on the road, remember, is Manuel Alvarez, but he's got that 5-second penalty. We wait to see where that's going to drop him at the end of the race, but I think looking at where he is in relation to others on the track, he will overcome it and still be able to hang on to position. There goes Jonathan Andre through. So Andre is currently in 6th spot, having had that moment down at the La Chapelle hairpin. This section of circuit, which he's approaching now, gets through it safely this time. Stefan Kirsch is the one that goes deep into the corner, sideways, tries to control the slide, and he does so. Comes back onto the road, just ahead of Antonio Albacete. So Stefan Kirsch giving his tyres a big workover. hanging on to 7th place, but in so doing allows Albafetti and Untitled to get even closer to him. Through they go, and on board here with Untitled. Makes the run, now down towards the S's, brakes hard, turns in, almost into the back of Albafetti then as he goes into turn 9. There's a long right, set the truck up for the next long left. And there is Antonio Albafetti. In replay, you see how close he got to the back of Stefan Kirsch. So you've seen them go out of garage there. This is turn 7 and 8, where again, heavy braking brings Bjorn Tyhaus onto the back then of Antonio Albafetti. And right there behind them is Lucas Harne. Now this is getting interesting, look, because all of this is for 8th place. This is pole position for race 2. And if Harne gets pole, I reckon he could be pretty much unstoppable from there for the reverse grid race. Up the road ahead of him, Albafetti and Bjorn Tyhaus get themselves together. Tyhaus goes through. That's going to leave the door open for Lucas Harne as well. Down to turn 11. Brake hard. Turn right. Lucas has got himself forced out wide on the outside line over the curving there. But let's see what he can do as they power their way onto the pit straight once again. So right now, Bjorn Tyhaus is 8th, and the fight for 9th is Antonio Albafetti versus Lucas Harne, who's looking to try to switch sides there on the run up to turn 1. Albafetti there on the inside line, but Bjorn Tyhaus, for the moment at least, has given himself pole position for the reverse grid race. Out of the Dunlop chicane. Lucas Harne way up the curve there, but Antonio Albafetti fends him off. But while he's defending, look, Tyhaus is getting away. We've got 8 minutes to go. Lucas Harne might have time left in the race here, but he's applying the pressure to Antonio Albafetti, and he's bringing with him Robin Krytoff. So the two drivers who were delayed at the start of the race are now together, 10th and 11th. But you see how easy it is for a battle to become disrupted. We had 3 of them together. That's hard on the inside line. Dives through at the Musée, and he's done it, has he? Yes. Now what about Krytoff to make a go? Should be able to, but he's going to be on the outside line down towards Garage Vert here. Down to turn 6 they come. And there, you're riding with him, is Krytoff, and he gets forced out wide by Albafetti, who misses his braking point and goes out wide. Krytoff gets back onto the road, but he's not going to be able to dive up the inside there. So, out of turn 6, speed builds once more here, down towards the S's at 7 and 8. And you've seen Antonio Albafetti in the past as a big defender. He's doing it again here as they go underneath the gantry and down towards the S. So through 7 and 8, down towards Garage Bleu they come now. And is this an opportunity for Robin Krytoff to dive to the inside line? Not there, it's not, but maybe he can force an error out of Albafetti. He can challenge towards the end of the lap. Next thing to watch, though, is going to be Harne catching Bjorn Tyhaus for 8th and pole for race 2. That's what he's now got to strive towards. Here goes Krytoff, looks at the inside down to Raccourement, but no way through there. Almost into the back of the Spanish driver. Goes the Dutch newcomer. Onto the main straight now. Albafetti with the back wagging. Leaves the door open for Robin Krytoff to try to challenge on the outside line. It's going to be all about grunt here, but Krytoff can't do it. Now he looks for the inside line, but that's going to be only the inside for turn 1. It'll be the outside for the first part of the Dunlop chicane, don't forget. So, Tyhaus being caught by Harne, and indeed, look, there they are with the Albafetti and Krytoff fight, keeping behind them now. The truck in the hands of Pedro Marco behind. Over the brow, down towards La Chapelle, they go. There is 2nd place Sasha Lentz. 3rd is Jose Villa ahead of Manuel Alvarez, but Alvarez gets that 5-second time penalty, don't forget, but he's way clear of Jonathan Andre. He's almost in the back of Villa here. Sideways is Alvarez, the Mercedes, having a rough old race, but he's hanging on to 4th position right now. Clock ticks on down, 5.5 minutes. Flying laps at the moment, just over 2 minutes around this circuit. As towards turn 7 here comes Alvarez. The Bugatti circuit at Le Mans, always a really popular venue for truck racing because it's not only the ETRC that we have here in the real world, but also the French Championship races, plus the Go Stop competition, which is always great fun as well. the power once more. Alvarez looks to the inside line, but he's already got one time penalty for pushing. Was there contact there again? Possibly, because Philip seems to run out wide. Alvarez did likewise. You see the way that Lentz is scarping up the road ahead of them then as they come over the timing line then past the ACO buildings on the right-hand side. Power up the pit straight. The road does climb here, of course. You're still climbing all the way through turn one. Through the Dunlop curve, past U buildings on the right-hand side, all part of that new village that was constructed a few seasons ago. And you're still climbing. Now Picard going to turn 2 and 3. Ride the curve a little bit. Onto the power here to drag the truck out of turn 3. All sideways again is Alvarez. It's great to watch, but you can see that he's dropping away from Jose Villa because he's getting all sideways like this. Out of La Chapelle, what have we got? 4 minutes, so you're looking at about 3 more laps of the race here. And again, sideways, all of which is hurting the tyres. The Goodyear tyres in the real world, mirrored in the virtual championship. Now, what about this fight here? Look, because Harne has got himself 8th ahead of Tyhouse. That's pole for race 2, and he's not done yet. Lucas Harne, a really impressive recovery drive here. Now gets himself onto the back of Stefan Kirsch. He's on the front row of the grid, but he might gain more places and therefore more points before he's done here. Up front, Norby Kirsch leading by 4 seconds. And this battle comes now down towards Garage Vert, down towards turn 6. You're looking at aboard 15 there. Henry Tyhouse, then Stefan Kirsch. Then it's Lucas Harne going a little bit wide. Right on his tail is Bjorn Tyhouse. But Harne currently pole position. Now, he could bank that, but equally, if he gains another place in the race, it will be more points for the championship. What's he going to do? It's that balancing act. Is he confident enough to settle for 8th? But because you get the same points in races 1 and 2, unlike in the real world championship, you could consolidate pole to a race win, and therefore what he loses here by staying 8th, not going for 7th, he makes up for in race 2. Well, that's one way of looking at it. The other is that he keeps on pushing, and right now at turn 9 he is pushing a little bit too aggressively because that tips Kirsch into a spin. Oh dear, that I rather fear might bring a penalty the way of Lucas Harne and cost him, after all of that, the pole position. He went for the inside, but there was clearly contact, and Stefan Kirsch was tipped into a spin. It's compromised his race because now what? He's down in 12th place. Harne goes 7th. Bjorn Tyhouse goes 8th. Robin Krytoff is up into 9th, but that could get better. And there is an investigation into the Kirsch-Harne incident. Not surprising. So there is less than a lap time, plus the regulation lap to go. Actually, I think they're going to squeeze one more out of this before the clock hits 0, and then there is that regulation lap. So it's all going to be a bit provisional, this, as you now know, with that incident you just seen, Harne on Kirsch being looked at. Real shame that, because Stefan Kirsch has been running really well, but then yet more contact, so that's going to be looked at. And a 5-second penalty goes the way of Lucas Harne for pushing. Can't really say that is a great surprise. So he was the victim earlier on, but now he will cop an extra 5 seconds. We'll have to see what that does to him at the end of the race. Meantime, yet again, Norbert Kirsch leads race 1 from pole position, and there is the 5-second time penalty confirmed for Lucas Harne. Norbert Kirsch then leads the way. Behind him, Sasha Lentz, looking as though he's on target for his best of the year, actually. Here's Sasha, a 2nd place, so although he had to work hard for it early on, looking as though it's going to be a good result for him. Running 3rd on the road is Jose Villa right now, but Norbert Kirsch will get 2 more laps out of this. He'll get 1 lap within the time, and then the regulation lap before we're done. So through goes number 1 then. Norbert Kirsch blasts over the line. The clock will hit 0 on this lap. There is Sasha Lentz going through. The gap last time was 4.7. It's now 4.9 seconds with 11 laps done. And there's Jonathan Andre covering. He, remember, went off-road mid-race, and he's a rather distant 5th right now as he comes up onto the line. If you add that 5 seconds to Alvarez, I think he's still clear. Andre goes through, and in turn, he has got the battle between Tiehouse et al. Behind him. You've got the two Tiehouses for 7th, then Krytoff is 9th, Pedro Marco 10th, Albacete is 11th, Stefan Kirsch is next, and where in all of this is Lucas Harne? Well, he's 6th on the road, but he's going to get a 5-second penalty. If he pushes, could he overcome that? Let's see. It's going to be interesting this to see the actual pace of Lucas Harne. We've had Alvarez on the back of Villa for pretty much the bulk of the race, and they're still at it. Clock hit 0, 1 lap to go then at the end of this. Side by side they run this time. Can the Mercedes find a way through before the end of the race? To the inside line goes Alvarez. Yes, he goes through, but he goes way, way wide. Jose Villa comes back on the inside line, and Jose Villa's going to retake 3rd place. Great racing between the two of them here. Kish leads the way. There, Lentz runs 2nd. And what's going on for 3rd place? Well, still this battle rages on. They're, of course, delaying one another, so that's bad news for Alvarez overcoming his 5-second deficit. But actually, with 16 seconds in hand, he should survive. Now, what about Lucas Harne over Henry Tiehouse? It was only 1 second over the line, so Harne, I don't think he's going to stay 6th. We'll have to wait and see. There could be a drama behind him that suddenly gift wraps him a load of time. Up towards turn 11, though, comes this fight for 3rd place. Villa from Alvarez. Leaders go through, and onto his last lap now is Norby Kish. 2nd place, Sasha Lentz goes through, and then 3rd up towards the line. Here goes this fight between Jose Villa and Manuel Alvarez, tucked up behind him. Through they turn up towards the Dunlop curve, turn 1 then. So on to the last lap of the race, and getting all committed under braking there. Look, was Alvarez under braking as he went into turns 2 and 3. Couldn't find a way by though, so he's still stuck there on the tail of Jose Villa as they drop down now into the La Chapelle right-hander. Up front, Norbert Kish though continues to look rather dominant. Sasha Lentz behind him. It's going to be win number 3, seemingly, for Norbert Kish. Sasha Lentz running in that 2nd spot then. MAN's 1st, 2nd and 3rd, with Jose Villa hanging on to 3rd place, but Alvarez lines up and has another go, coming down towards turn 6. This is where he made the move and it all came unstuck a lap ago. This time he tries perhaps to get the undercut coming out of the corner, but Villa is wise to all of this and fends him off as they get onto the power once again. So there is number 30, Sasha Lentz. Look back and you see what's going on for 3rd place. We had Marco Klingelhoefer, incidentally, as an early retirement. So missed out on the qualifying, did join on the grid, but then possibly with another internet drama, ended up many laps ago not being able to continue in the race. But it's going to be yet another win for him. A 3rd win of the season. Norbert Kish then, from pole, comes through to score victory. It is race 5 of the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge. Norbert Kish wins at Le Mans. Who is going to be 2nd? Sasha Lentz, it should be, to come across the line for 2nd place. Yes, it is. Jose Villa is going to take 3rd, or is he? Because Alvarez is ahead of him. It is Alvarez who takes 3rd place on the road, but then on the 5-second penalty, Jose Villa will get the place back then from Alvarez in 4th place. Jonathan Andre takes 5th ahead of Lucas Harne. Then it is Henry Tiehouse from Bjorn Tiehouse. 9th on the road, Robin Krytoff, and 10th, Pedro Marco. Antonio Albacete is 11th. Stefan Kirsch takes 12th ahead of Rodriguez. Then Ferry van Drunen and Lucas Rival with the retired truck. 16th classification for Marco Klingelhoefer, but there are, as I say, 1 or 2 penalties to apply to all of that. So what you see on the screen, you'd have to give Manuel Alvarez his 5 seconds, and that would drop him behind Jose Villa. And what about the 5 seconds for Lucas Harne? That's going to be close, because if you give him a time of 39, he is going to lose a place, but only by 1/10 of a second. So Lucas Harne loses 1 place by a 1/10 to number 15, Henry Tiehouse. that it is, of course, Jose Villa that on the corrected times would take third place. So all action. We'll get a chance to hear from some of the drivers in a few moments once they have made their way into the interview channel. But a great drive again from Norbert Kish to come through to score the race win. And we look forward to seeing what's going to pan out of the second race with that semi-reversed grid. And there are drivers, of course, now filling in incident forms. If you want to protest about anything, now is the chance. There is the protest time. But as far as the race result is concerned, with that corrected time, the time penalty given to Manuel Alvarez, it will give third to Jose Villa, second to Sasha Lentz, and to Norbert Kish, a third race win of the season. And of course, that's good news in the championship, with Norby only 3 points ahead coming into that race. Now he's able to extend that advantage over Manuel Alvarez in the championship standings. So great action, some good battles up and down the order. One or two drivers potentially a little bit miffed at some of the contact, but an excellent race it was, and that is how they crossed the line. But remember, with that 5-second penalty, Jose Villa will inherit third place from Manuel Alvarez. So it's going to be Norbert Kish, Sasha Lentz and Jose Villa, the top three, and Norbert Kish then taking yet another race win. He will be absolutely delighted with that, no doubt. Much of the hard work, of course, done early on to try and build that race lead over the opposition. We might get a chance to hear as well from Sasha Lentz before we go to race 2, and of course reverse that grid for the top 8 for that grid for race 2. So, racing, let's go to the podium. So, Sasha Lentz taking second place, Norbert Kish the winner, and
I go
third,
to the inside.
Jose Villa with that time penalty to Manuel Alvarez. So it feels like a normal Sunday now, because it's been pole position and a race win. A time to talk to Norbert Kish. Norbert, well done. You've done it again. Great drive.
Thank you very much.
How hard was that race win?
Oh, well, the start was a little bit tricky because it was really close between Sasha and Manuel Alvarez, but then they started to fight over second place, and that gave me a little bit of breathing room, So then after the first chicane, I could take it a little bit easy. So, but the start and the first chicane was really hard and really stressful. So I just, if you make a mistake in this championship, you can lose a lot.
Indeed, yes. Manuel got caught up at the first hairpin, turn 4, so he got a 5-second penalty. So third on the road, he's ended up 4th. That helps you. You've gained a fair more points over him. You've stretched that gap in the championship now.
Yeah, it's at the moment it's looking better, but on the reverse grid race, I think he gets his back. He can get it back, because then he win a position for the reverse grid race, which is always nice. And then, if he make a good start, overtake some people, he can end up in the second race again. And who knows where will I end up, from the 8th position. So, it's a penalty, but not so harsh, not so harsh, So I think he can easily make up for it in the reverse grid race. So.
Now, from your perspective, or race 2 again, the first few corners, keep out of trouble, I guess, because on the reverse grid, you're going to have people all around you.
Yeah. Like I always say, I have to find the right balance between getting a good result and considering how much risk I take, So Manuel is the one I have to watch, because he's really close to me. He was really close to me in the championship. I mean, he's still really close to me in the championship, so I will have to watch out for him. That what he can do, how he can move up in the field, and I have to try to stay close to him.
For sure. Well, we're looking forward to another good race. It's been really competitive all season, but on win number 3 of the championship season, Norbert Kish, well done.
Thank you very much.
So Norbert Kish victorious, and not only is Norbert able to talk to us as the race winner, but so too Sasha Lentz, who's just got his best result of the season. Second place. Sasha, well done. Really good drive.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a really nice race. I have a good start. I pushed a little bit the Nobby, but was on the beginning from the start. And after the chicane, I was on the second place, and I hope I drive a really good race, and after I stand on the podium. Huh?
It was really good, and it's good to see you back up there because second place is your best finish of the season so far. That must give you some confidence, some hope for the reverse grid race.
Yeah, I hope so. The problem is I feel not so much. I cannot so much good drive with the new trucks. It's a little bit different from last year, but Lucas helped me a little bit with the setup, and now I'm position 2, and I'm really happy.
It's good to see you back at the front of the grid. Oh, Sasha Lentz, congratulations on second place. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Sasha Lentz, then, who will start 7th on the grid, of course, on that semi-reverse grid going into our second race, and that is to look forward to because that's coming up in a little while. So we've had a chance to hear from our top 2. Now the race control team gets even busier, as if it hadn't been busy with the drivers in the first race, because they now have the protests to have a look at and any penalties that need to be applied. And we will look forward to the second race. Now, also, we have a chance to hopefully have a quick word with Marco Klingelhoefer, who sadly didn't get many laps in race 1. Marco, what happened?
Yeah, hello, nice to hear you.
Hello.
I have some problems with the CPU. So in the racing, when the trucks came close to me, the pictures of the screen stand still, so I can't really competing to the race.
Ah, oh dear. Sounds like a big problem for a sim racing driver. Can that be sorted out for race 2, or do you think you're going to be...
I hope so.
You hope so, yeah.
I hope we can fix the problem and I can take part to the next race.
Excellent. Let us hope so. We look forward to seeing you out race 2. Marco, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Driver. Race 2 coming up shortly, and Lucas Harne starting on the front of it. Let's see how he pans going into the second race of the evening. Hopefully Marco Klingelhoefer is to be there at the back as well, but for him it is sounding like a pretty big issue with the CPU in the computer not displaying all the graphics effectively. That's the problem he's got, so he's not able to see other trucks around him, and that does make life very difficult indeed. So fingers crossed that he's going to be there on the grid. So provisionally, after the first race of the day here at Le Mans, it is going to put onto pole position for race 2 Bjorn Tiehaus, and with him on the front row, because of that penalty, Lucas Harne. So he was 6th over the line, but will be 7th on corrected times. Therefore, the second row of the grid is going to be Henry Tiehaus and Jonathan Andre. The third row of the grid, Manuel Alvarez and Jose Villa. Again, another time penalty, switching the order between those two of Alvarez and Villa. And then row 4 of the grid, Sasha Lentz and the race 1 Victor Norbert Kish. So we have then the drivers, as I say, getting themselves ready. And we look forward to our second race. The drivers are getting themselves ready. Race control still has a little bit of work to do after race 1. That means that we can have a short break. See you shortly.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and better all-weather capability. Excellent mileage levels, significantly improved traction throughout the tire life. And FuelMax Gen 2. Exceptional fuel efficiency, increased mileage, and better all-weather capability. Excellent fuel efficiency, significantly improved all-weather capability. Gen 2. More innovative, more advanced, better for business. Welcome to the next generation. The new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range from Goodyear.
At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Burtenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Burtenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
Our mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and better all-weather capability. Excellent mileage levels, significantly improved traction throughout the tire life. And FuelMax Gen 2. Exceptional fuel efficiency, increased mileage, and better all-weather capability. Excellent fuel efficiency, significantly improved all-weather capability. Gen 2. More innovative, more advanced, better for business. Welcome to the next generation. The new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range from Goodyear.
At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Burtenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Burtenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
Our mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
Welcome back to Le Mans as we get set for the second race of the evening, the 6th race of the championship in the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge. And of course, this is, as you know the format by now, with that semi-reversed grid based on the results of race 1, the top 8 reversed. And within that top 8, of course, a couple of penalties to reverse a couple of places from how the drivers cross the line to where they are in the classification, and that's going to affect the grid a little as well. So if you take as an example Lucas Harne, who was given a 5-second time penalty, although it costs him a place, it brings him forward a row on the grid. So there's a penalty in terms of a place lost and points lost from race 1, but the benefit is he's further up the road on the grid for race 2. It's going to be interesting to see whether he can keep out of trouble. And indeed, perhaps can he get away from the pack, because we know that he's got good speed and he's looking for that maiden race win. Lucas Harne having had something like 3 second places out of the 5 races that we have had so far. The race control team then has been busy looking at previous incidents, looking at whether any penalties are required. And if not, then we should be good to go as the drivers start to join the server. And we get ready for our second race then here at Le Mans, the 4.1 kilometre long Bugatti circuit, with that really tight infield section that brings you from the full circuit through La Chapelle, down that paperclip style twisty infield through Le Musée up towards Garage Vert, and then the speed building down towards the little kink, the S's at 7 and 8, down towards the end of the lap with the heavy braking zone at turn 9 for Garage Bleu. Turn 10 takes you all to the final double apex right of Raccordement, and then that long drag up past the pits with the road climbing all the time on the way up towards the Dunlop curve and then the Dunlop chicane itself. Keeping out of trouble on lap 1 is going to be absolutely crucial. We've heard lots of drivers say that over the course of the championship thus far, for race 1 as well as race 2 in fairness, but Norbert Kisch was saying yet again after the win he had in the first race that he does need to just make sure he gets points, keep out of trouble on the run through the first couple of corners, and then he can perhaps plan that strategy. 25 minutes plus the regulation lap. Drivers now joining the server, getting ready for this second race. The grid is going to start to take shape shortly. We will have the Mercedes pace truck at the front. We'll have the Ford F-Max lap prior to that as well, before the drivers leave the line. And then we will be good to go, ready for this 6th race of the championship. Winners, remember, so far, well, Norbert Kisch 3, Manuel Alvarez has had 1, and so too a win has gone the way of Jose Villa. So Norbert Kisch very much the man to beat, but Villa and Alvarez have proved their pace as well. And you can expect perhaps that they are going to be up at the pointy end of this race as well. So then the drivers are getting themselves ready to go. And before we go racing, let's have the Ford F-Max lap. So there is the grid, taking shape, ready to go, with on pole position Bjorn Teichhaus, and with him on the outside of the front row, a driver who I still think is going to be a potential race winner. In fact, this is arguably his best chance of a race win this year. Lucas Harne, great pace was shown in race 1, and here he is starting on the front row. If he can make a peach of a start and get ahead of Teichhaus and stay ahead on the run towards the Dunlop curve, the race, I reckon, is going to be his. But it's easier said than done. The Iveco pace truck is there, ready to lead them away, with on the second row Henry Teichhaus and Jonathan Andre. On the third row, Manuel Alvarez and Jose Villa, and then row 4, Sasha Lentz, and triple winner, now that he has taken a win earlier on in the day, Norbert Kish. Let's have a walk down the grid then. Bjorn Teichhaus in 51, with Lucas Harne for company. Second row, Henry Teichhaus there, look in the Scania, alongside him in the yellow MAN 66, Jonathan Andre. Row 3 on the inside, Manuel Alvarez, and Jose Villa 99 in the MAN lines up alongside, and then it's Sasha Lentz and Norbert Kish. Those the drivers then reversing their places from race 1's result. Next row of the grid, Robin Krytoff is there in 45, the Rainbow Warrior Scania, Pedro Marco alongside him, ahead of Antonio Alberthetti and then Stefan Kirsch. Next up comes Ivan Rodriguez and Ferry van Drunen, with the back row being Lucas Ribal, and he is there, fingers crossed for a better result. Marco Klingelhoefer, CPU problem with the Iveco driver not being able to see everybody around him, so hopefully the graphics card is now playing ball, and this will be a much easier drive for him. So the grid is complete, and the lights soon will change, ready to release the drivers onto the start of the 25 minutes, but it's the formation lap as the red lights are then on, and when they go out any second. Now the clock starts to tick and we are in business. So the trucks rumble away from the line, making that run up towards the Dunlop curve, looking from the high camera down onto the circuit with the ACO Village on the inside of the corner there. The pace truck will lead them around, and then of course up towards the chicane at turns 2 and 3. The Dunlop chicane goes left, goes right, and it's easy to make a mistake there going too quickly. You compromise turn 2 and turn 3 and the run down towards La Chapelle. So Bjorn Teichhaus then in number 51 is the driver starting on pole position. Now, is he going to be able to convert that pole into the race lead? The Scania driver has the Iveco of Lucas Harne for company on that front row. Henry Teichhaus and Jonathan Andre's MAN. Andre should be, I would have thought, another quick driver here coming off the front of the grid, but he needs to keep out of trouble. Outbraked himself in race 1, fell down the order, but Jonathan Andre, his best results coming into the weekend, a brace of 6th places, and 5th being the best that he's had so far, thanks to the comeback drive in race 1 here. A little bit of contact in the pack there on the formation lap, which isn't really what the race control team wants to be seeing. But as the trucks now come down towards Garage Vert at turn 6, we will be going racing at the end of this formation lap. And it's going to be good stuff, this, I'm sure, with Harne starting at the front. Now, have we had 1 or 2 disconnecting there because suddenly things jumped around a bit? Bjorn Teichhaus fell away, but I think has come back to where he should be on the front row of the grid. Some of the contact that you may have just seen is partly to do with people's internet connections and the truck hesitating. So it's not that they're being rammed, it's just that they're internet has had a small pause, a little glitch. So Teichhaus versus Harne on the front row. Brother Teichhaus, Henry, on the second row with Jonathan Andre for company. Could we have a 4th different winner of the championship? Well, if it's going to happen, it will happen on a reverse grid race, you could argue. And there the Iveco pace truck leads them through the turn 7 and 8 sequence. On to the power once more, and then the run up towards Garage Bleu, the S at the end of this Bugatti circuit lap. I still think another driver worth keeping an eye to from 9th on the grid will be Robin Krytoff, who was 4th in qualifying, really impressive in the Superpole session. So let's see what he can do from here as through they turn. And Lucas Harne getting himself a little bit in advance of Bjorn Teichhaus there, but I think that's perhaps serving intent, isn't it? Showing that he means business in all of this. So the pace truck now into the pit lane. And Lucas Harne on his toes, ready to try to storm away as they come up towards the line. They can't accelerate until the race director gives the signal that the race is on. They have to hold station, hold formation. They'll hear it on TeamSpeak. The clock ticks on down any moment when they cross the line. Now the race underway, and Lucas Harne does get a better start there than does the Untitled. He takes Jonathan Andre with him as the trucks power their way up towards turn 1 for the first time then. And yes, Harne hits the front. Andre goes second. And I think Jose Villa will be up in the third place around the outside. Jonathan Andre right on the back of Harne. Now this is the danger point up towards turn 2. Who is going to come out ahead? Lucas Harne goes in deep, goes in sideways and slides off the road. Can he hang on to it? Let's see as they come back onto the circuit. Yes, Harne just about has recovered for all of that. But that was a little bit leery. Norbert Kirsch already up into third place. It is going to be Villa up into second, but Norbert Kirsch has had the road open up for him because he is third ahead of Jonathan Andre and then Bjorn Teichhaus as they go through La Chapelle. The start is under investigation, but as they come down towards us here at the Musée, it is indeed Lucas Harne who leads the way. But Norbert Kirsch from 8th to 3rd, well, that was some first couple of corners, wasn't it? Robin Krytoff looks like he's been rather badly delayed, and I think also having gained ground is Marco Klingelhoefer. So Klingelhoefer making good progress early on. There's a really tight line there from Lucas Harne. Might well fire him out wide. Let's see Norbert Kirsch up the curb as he tries to level there with Villa. But the Spanish driver, who's been a race winner already this year, is able for the moment at least to keep him at bay as they come then under the Kugel gantry towards turn 7. Look at Norbert Kirsch, he's offline in as much as he looks to be trying to make a move against Villa, but he can't do it. Slots back in behind there. Jonathan Andre runs in 4th then as they go through the chicane. And then it's Bjorn Teichhaus in 5th. Pedro Marco's made a good first lap. He runs 6th then. So one of the losers on what looks to have been Sasha Lentz, does it not? Because he's dropped away. Confirm the order at the end of the laps. He's going, just caught a glimpse of him in the background. But as they come here up through turn 9 and 10, to end the first racing lap, is looking good so far for Lucas Harne because he leads the way, and what he now needs is for Villa to keep Kirsch behind him, keep him stuck there. So here they come up towards the timing line. The longer Kirsch can't make progress, the better it is for Harne to pull away. 4th over the line as they come through the end of the lap is by the look of it then the truck of Jonathan Andre, but he, as I say, has also lost out on that opening lap to an extent and is coming under attack from Teichhaus and Marco. But Lucas Harne does indeed lead the way then as they've come over the line. But can he hang on in there? This now is going to seem, I suspect, like a very long 20 minutes or so he's got to hang on up there because ideally he wants to try to build the gap, but he also needs Jose Villa to keep Norbert Kirsch at bay. It was 1.2 seconds when they came across the line at the end of the first proper racing lap. Let's now see what else can pan out as far as that lead situation is concerned. Behind Pedro Marco, who is 6th, is Stefan Kirsch 7th, Sasha Lentz 8th, Manuel Alvarez is 9th, and Ivan Rodriguez is 10th. So Rodriguez has gone forward, Alvarez has dropped back, and legacy of all of the dramas, inevitable dramas, going through the Dunlop chicane on the first lap. But there you see Norbert Kirsch then challenging for that second place as they come down towards turn 6. And the good news for Harne is that he still has not found a way by them. On the power they come once again here. Accelerate up towards us. We're looking back from the second place MAN. Jose Villa keeping the similar truck of Norbert Kirsch at bay. But is this playing into the hands of Lucas Harne? It should be. He's trying to escape, although Villa's pace is good and he is going after him. Norbert Kirsch hanging along with them. Norbert possibly biding his time, possibly waiting to see how the others, less experienced drivers, use their tyres and whether that will play into his hands as the race wears on. So what can Norbert Kirsch do? He was 4th in the reverse grid race in Hungary, 3rd in the reverse grid race at the Nürburgring. So what's he going to do here at Le Mans? In theory, it could be 2nd if that pattern continues, but therefore he's got to gain a place off Villa. Still stuck behind him as they come up towards the end of lap 3. And over the line goes Lucas Harne. Good up front then, looking as though he might be able here to take a first win of the championship. 7th then in the race that we witnessed earlier on in the day, and now looking to convert the front row of the grid to a race victory. Actually, Villa is going after him. 1.2 seconds at the end of lap 2. And at the end of lap 3, is that margin looking a little bit less? To the eye, it certainly is here. Look, as they come out of the chicane, when they went over the line, it was down to just over a second. So as you see Kish go through, further back there, Bjorn Tiehaus rattles his way, 6th out on the Dunlop chicane, keeping at bay Pedro Marco. And then in 7th place, it is Sasha Lentz. Lentz closing on them as well as you look at the leaders. So Villa is catching Harne and he's taking Kish with him. Then they turn into turn 5, the Buzet. This is the view from Corby Kish. He's in 3rd place. Is he going to settle for that at points, or is he going to keep on pushing? You've heard Norbert talk at the end of race 1. He's not going to put himself into a situation where he'll be in jeopardy for points, so keeping out of trouble is part of it. He knows he's ahead of Alvarez here. And he accelerates onto the straight, down towards turn 7 and 8. That quick flick through the chicane. Again, looks to the inside of Villa, trying to unsettle him perhaps, trying to put him offline as they dart under the Kugel Gantry, down towards that little chicane. Lots of flat curve, of course, because motorbike racing is common on the Bugatti circuit, so they're low flat curves to account for the bikes as well as cars as well as trucks. And now Villa goes defensive down towards turn 9. Norby thinks about it, but there's no gap on the inside. What about at turn 10? No, Villa moves across and covers off that line as well. Down towards turn 11, gap to the inside line. Kish commits, he goes for it, rattles over the curb, goes wide. Is that going to give Villa a chance to come back? Look right. Let's see where he is on the inside line, but I think no, Norbert Kish looks like he's managed to hang on to that. He rather dived bombed Villa, and there going back through. Yes, Villa takes the place. Now, was that a legacy of Kish getting it wrong, or did Norby give him the place back, thinking might get a penalty for that, let him give him the position back again? We'll wait and see from outside maybe in replay, but look what's happening behind. Jonathan Andre has caught right up, and Lucas Harne all of a sudden is getting away up front now. He has gained something like 3 seconds over Villa, badly delayed there in that contretemps with Kish, and Jonathan Andre in 4th place is right there. Down towards La Chapelle they come through turn 4 here. So the race leader, Lucas Harne, trying to get away, and that battle behind is absolutely what he wants. It's delaying the drivers involved. It's giving him more breathing space. And now look, Kish getting a little bit more terry because he knows what's happening behind him. He knows, and he's being caught here by Andre. 14 minutes plus a lap still to run. Jonathan Andre's view is of the back of Norbert Kish with a red MAN on whom he closes there. Look, dropping down towards turn 6. But he goes way out wide. No, that was an internet glitch, I think, for a moment. It just seemed to suggest he was going wide. He is there in 4th place, so all is good for Andre. He was off the road big time in the first race, but going nicely here, closing on Kish. Harne into turn 7. Look behind him. There you've got the fight between Villa, Kish, and then Jonathan Andre in that 4th position, and he's doing a really good job here. And Norbert Kish comes down towards turn 9, closing onto the back of Villa under braking. He could barely be any closer, really, could he? And what's going on behind? Sasha Lentz making a move there. Looks trying to get himself up 1 further place at the expense of Pedro Marco into the top 6. Marco hangs on to it for the moment. 2nd, 3rd, 4th come out of Raccordement for 6th place. There on the 2nd shot of the 2, you can see Marco is all over the road, and he might open up for Lentz. He's on the inside. A little bit of a rub between the 2 of them, and Pedro Marco just hangs on to the position. Here they come over the line. 13 minutes are on the clock. Up towards turn 1 they go here. Accelerate through. So Harne is Villa 2nd, Kish 3rd, Andre 4th, and then in 5th place, about the only lonely driver other than the leader, Bjorn Tiehaus. There he is at 51, because Bjorn Tiehaus for the moment is not coming under pressure from Pedro Marco, because Pedro is a little bit busy defending from Lentz, who is bringing their 8th now, robbing Krytoff with him. No, tell you a lie, 9th, because hidden was Manuel Alvarez, and Alvarez up the inside of Lentz, goes through, gains the place then. So up into 7th place goes Manuel Alvarez, but there's drama coming out of the corner, and that's Alvarez, I reckon, facing the wrong way. Let's check. Certainly been one spin. Nope, it's not Alvarez. He has got going again. It is Jonathan Andre in number 66. The Lion Truck Racing Team MAN was the spinner. And so Jonathan Andre, who was 4th, has thrown himself now down the order into 12th position. So drama coming out of the corner, and that throws the situation a little bit up in the air as far as 2nd, 3rd and 4th is concerned, because now Kirsch doesn't have to think about pressure behind. And we've got a bit of Lapri to factor into all of this as well. There, Kirsch 3rd, concentrating now purely on Villa up the road ahead of him. Now the start is under investigation. That is being looked at as ever. This is the fight for 2nd place coming up towards turn 10 with 11 minutes and change and a lap on the clock still. But right now, Lucas Harne escaping up the road. 3 seconds to the good and still stuck there. Look, behind Jose Villa is Lapri, because they come across the line. Look, that is Henry Tiehouse, who's gone a lap down. So Tiehouse lost a lap, and he is the next driver that they need to find a way past. So the race leader getting away all the while now. It's looking really good, this, for Lucas Harne, especially with this battle delaying the 2 drivers, and they've also got to get past the back marker into 4th place currently, Bjorn Tiehouse. Now that is a really encouraging result. I know it's been helped in part by the reverse grid for the start of the race, but 4th for Bjorn Tiehouse would be the best yet for him. Alvarez 5th over the line ahead of Marco, then Krytoff 7th and Sasha Lentz down in 8th. It is Stefan Kirsch in 9th and Ivan Rodriguez 10th. Jonathan Andre is whispering 12th after his dramas. Kirsch to the outside there. Down they drop towards turn 5 at the Musée, but he can't get past. So for the moment it remains Jose Villa in that 2nd place, hanging on to the position. Looking down at turn 6 at Garage there, you can see the leader escaping all the time there. So as he gets away, Lucas Harne looking strong up front. Great battles rage on lower down the order as the truck there of Pedro Marco goes wide. Krytoff tries to get the run on him in the Rainbow Warrior Sonia on exit of the corner. Sasha Lentz having dropped back into 8th weight, maybe for it to end in tears. And now 2nd and 3rd come up on the back marker. Henry Tiehouse. Can they find a way through easily here? Let's see. Robin Krytoff, first time out of the championship. He's had good pace off the road and back on again. Goes Pedro Marco ahead of him. Krytoff has the momentum. He's also got Sasha Lentz glued to the back of him with 9 minutes on the clock still. Drop down here into turn 9. And Pedro Marco also showing good pace here, keeping Krytoff at bay. Marco had an 8th in the reverse grid race at the Nürburgring. But remember, he was only 10th in race 1, so he's made a good run up the order here, helped by the dramas on the first lap, as ever. And he's keeping Robin Krytoff at bay as they head over the timing line now. So Lucas Harne it is, who still leads here at Le Mans, the 6th race in the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge. Got Harama still to come, of course, and then the grand final, where the real-world drivers meet the sim racers that have had their own championship with great action as well this year. That's to look forward to, where we pit them all against one another. So they're going through. Is 45. That is Robin Krytoff. Whoops, Pedro Marco all sideways. Just about got away with that as they came into La Chapelle there through turn 4. 8 minutes plus a lap still to go. Lentz trying to make some progress here. Lucas Harne's lead last time over 6 seconds then against the opposition, so he's looking very strong indeed up front. But the 2nd place, Villa versus Kirsch, they are still together. They've got themselves up past the lap Henry Tiehouse, and Kirsch for the inside line. Does he go through? Yes, he does. Doesn't he go wide? Almost goes wide. There was just about a gap on the inside for Jose Villa, but he couldn't take advantage of that. So Kirsch, I think, finally has done it, but is it too late? There is Lucas Harne, race leader, and there you can see the gap now that Norby Kirsch is going to try to make up, and actually Villa will probably try to challenge and come back, and there they are, look, nose to tail. Villa then, if he can get the line down towards turn 9, might challenge on the inside. Let's see. Down to the braking zone they go. Here, is there a gap there? No, not on the inside. What about wide in, tight out? No, too much speed carried into the corner. Look, Villa has lost 2, maybe 3 lengths against Norbert Kish. So let's see what that gap is going to be when they come over the line this time. Last lap it was 6.1 seconds between the top 2. Here comes Norbert Kish then up towards the line. So Lucas Harne is the race leader, and Norbert Kish in second spot. He's got Villa behind him in third position. So 6.1 seconds when they cross the timing line last lap around, and it's now 6.4 over the timing line on the next lap. So Kish has lost a little bit of ground because of doing the overtaking, but of course now the trade-off is clear road ahead of him. Now he can really push. So 6 minutes on the clock, plus that lap at the end. Drivers working their way now down towards Le Musée, and Harne ahead of Kish. Is he going to be able to hang on in there? The clock ticks on down. We've got 13 laps in total of the first race, and drivers have now done 8 in race 2 here of our third race meeting within the championship. The ETRC Digital Racing Challenge, part of the hashtag One Truck Family eSports Challenge, which, as I say, takes the real world drivers against the Sims, the AMs, for their own championship, and that's going to get together for the grand final on March the 28th. Venue still to be confirmed. Lucas Harne turns through, 5 minutes and counting. There, Kish still runs second. Now, is he getting away from Villa? It looks as though the answer is yes here. So that gap, I reckon, is going to come down a little between the top 2, but it might be that it's too little too late for Norbert. Lucas Harne. You see Krytoff off the road at turn 8. They're getting back on in the Scania, but Robin Krytoff gives up 7th place and throws himself way, way down the order there. That was a big mistake, I'm afraid, because it's cost him a lot of ground. Next gaggle of trucks there behind Sasha Lentz, who goes over the line. Come through, including Pedro Marco. So Marco has dropped back into the clutches of Stefan Kirsch as they go over the timing line. And under investigation is Pedro Marco. So he has done something somewhere that has raised the attention of race control. Pedro Marco then is being looked at. Stefan Kirsch going through in 7th place. There's confirmation on the screen as Marco gets up the curve, and there was contact there ahead of him, I think, because that's just fired the lap Tyhouse out of the way. Henry Tyhouse all over the curb, so a race that's already lost him a lap. He's going from bad to worse here. So he's off the road and back on again. And in all of this, Bjorn Tyhouse has dropped way, way back as well, hasn't he? Because Alvarez now runs 4th, Lentz 5th, Marco 6th, Kirsch 7th. Bjorn Tyhouse is being shown as 8th, although, yes, that's about right for him. 9th behind is then Ivan Rodriguez, and 10th after his moment, Robin Krytoff, but he's still attacking all the time. So Bjorn Tyhouse, as I say, has certainly lost out over the last few laps, having been well placed early on, running well from that reverse grid pole position. What about Krytoff here in the traffic? Down he comes towards turn 6 at Garage Vert. He's trying to attack Rodriguez, who in turn is looking for a way past the lapped Henry Tyhouse. Can't do it as yet. Krytoff lining up to have a go on the next part of the circuit. This view from Rodriguez, who's on the grass there, getting past the back marker. Krytoff there to the inside line. So 9th and 10th they run. Can Krytoff go back through? Yes, he can, I reckon, because Rodriguez gets forced out wide, loses adhesion, goes off the road. Dart through the Iveco hoardings, back on again, but also there, look, Henry Tyhouse gets his lap back against the Portuguese driver. In the meantime, the clock is ticking on down, and it's still Lucas Harne leading the way, looking strong up front as there Rodriguez battles with the back marker. Now, arguably, Tyhouse ought to get out of the way and let him go here, because this isn't a battle for position, and Tyhouse is getting in the way. He's just outbraked himself, look, got off the road. So finally, Rodriguez does go through on the inside, secures that place. there. Now up towards the line goes Rodriguez. So he's back into 10th place. And more news comes from race control that says number 15 give back position to 94. Well, as they're on different laps, it kind of doesn't really matter because, of course, 15 is a lap down anyway. Having said all that, it's important for Rodriguez that he's not behind the back marker for too long, so he gets his position back anyway. Rodriguez then goes through. He's all sideways, look, absolutely on the giddy limit, going down towards turn 4 through La Chapelle. Up front, Lucas Harne onto this lap was ahead by 4 seconds. That means the gap is coming down. 4.0 seconds going onto the lap. So the clock will hit 0 on the next one, and then there's the lap. So 2 to go at the end of this, I would offer you, for the race leader. There he is. So Lucas Harne comes over the curb out of turn 8 and makes the run now down towards the turn 9-10 Garage Bleu S. Here he is on this Bugatti circuit then that offers a chance for Le Mans to be used all year round, not just for the 24 with the public roads needing closing, of course, for that huge event that hopefully this year in June is going to be allowed a crowd once more. But there's talk already of the organisers looking at a September date to try to make sure that they can have spectators back. Here is Lucas Harne then, who is going to get 2 more laps out of the race. So this is the last lap within the time, and then another lap under the regulations at the end of it to balance out that pace lap counting within the 25 minutes. Second over the line, Norbert Kish. Their third, dropping a long way back now. In 99 is Jose Villa, and then behind him in 4th place there you've got Alvarez, and he's being reeled in by Sasha Lentz. So that gap's coming down between them. Over the timing line in 6th goes Pedro Marco, looking really good here. It's good. I know he's under investigation, but it's good that he's got good pace. Could be on for his best result yet if there's no post-race penalty thrown his way. On board here with Robin Krytoff. Trying to work his way up through the traffic because there up the road, look, he's 51 Bjorn Tiehaus. So Krytoff comes through. And Krytoff in the Scania in the Rainbow Warrior colours, the colours carried by Kees Zandbergen, senior and junior. Through the hairpin they turn onto the power now and get out the other side. Drag these trucks, govern to 100 miles an hour with all of that weight. Got a plan ahead. It's not so much racing in slow motion, but you can't do the quick fire darts one side and then the other as you can, for example, in lightweight single-seater car racing. A different art, but it's one that drivers adapt to from different disciplines very easily. Always been a fascination of track racing, how people with a motorbike background have adapted perhaps better sometimes than cars, from motocross or MotoGP as it has become. Those riders like a Steve Parish or a Barry Sheen always adapted really well to truck racing, Steve Parish particularly so. Krytoff up the inside, gains ground. Further back, Jonathan Andre still stuck in the traffic. There is Sasha Lentz. He goes into turn 7 then, down for the moment in 5th place behind Manuel Alvarez. And are we going to be able to see Lucas Harne score his first win? He's still got that gap over Norbert Kish, but it's a gap that is coming down, no question about it. Last time it was 3.2 seconds, so we went from 6 a few laps back, down to 4, then 3.2. Over the line goes Harne, over the line goes Kish. Race control confirming that it is the final lap of the race now as the rigs turn their way up towards turn 1. There is the battle, and the gap coming down, 2.4 seconds now. Can Kish catch? Can he even pass on the last lap? Is the pressure going to tell against Lucas Harne? He's way up the curb there, trying to shorten the line through the Dunlop chicane. That's not necessarily the thing that's going to adhere him to race control, but he gets away with it. A little bit of a lock-up down at La Chapelle. He scrabbles through the corner, and Stefan Kirsch is under investigation for contact against number 25, which is Pedro Marco. So there's an investigation, Kirsch on Marco. They're going through Lucas Harne. The gap is down. It's come down from the start of the lap by a second plus. It was 1 second, then down to 0.8. So Kish means business. Is Lucas Harne, having led all the way, going to lose out on the last few corners of the last lap here? He's up the curb again. Kish closing on down. There are 11 corners to the lap. We've done 6. speed builds down towards 7 and 8. Harne will be getting a bit edgy now inside the virtual Iveco. And if he loses it at this stage, his father is going to read him the riot act, I would have thought. So Lucas Harne looking for a maiden win into turn 7. Don't get it wrong from here, Lucas. Keep it under control. Out of 8. Down towards the S's at turns 9 and 10, after which he's almost home and dry because Kirsch is closing. But I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time. Lucas Harne then is about to make the run from turn 9 to 10. That's the left-hander. Then, with Kirsch closing all the while, as long as he can cover off the inside line here, it's just the run up towards the line. Kirsch is closing. He goes for the gap on the inside. Last corner, last lap, and he's done it. Norbert Kirsch goes through, and Lucas Harne gets mugged within sight of the line. It's going to be a drag race to the flag, but Norbert Kirsch does it on the last corner of the last lap ahead of Lucas Harne, who may not care to join us in the interview room after that, because so near and yet so far. You've got a feel for him. Stefan Kirsch has been given a 10-second penalty, incidentally, for pushing. But we'll come to him in a moment, as across the line for third place, first of all, comes Jose Villa. Fourth over the line is Alvarez, and fifth, Sasha Lentz. Sixth on the road, Robin Krytoff, really good drive from him. Seventh on the road, Stefan Kirsch, ahead of then Bjorn Teichhaus, Pedro Marco and Jonathan Andre. Ivan Rodriguez comes through for 11th. Antonio Albacete is 12th. We know that a lap down is Henry Teichhaus, so we await the arrival then next of Lucas Rival, Ferry van Drunen, and the last driver through should be Marco Klingelhoefer, but the penalty applied to Stefan Kirsch is 10 seconds. And let us just see where that is likely to drop him. He came across the line. Oh, so in fact, the timing screen's updating itself on our graphic. So it would put him behind Rodriguez, I would offer you. So just ahead of Antonio Albacete. So Stefan Kirsch, as a consequence of all of that, would fall to 11th place provisionally with that 10-second penalty. But what a race, and you really have to feel, don't you, for Lucas Harne. Norbert Kirsch the winner, Lucas Harne second, and Jose Villa taking third place. That's the provisional order as they came across the line. And we'll have a word, I'm sure, with Norbert Kirsch. I wasn't convinced he was going to be able to get through that last corner, but he did it. Let's see if we can bring both of them into the English channel, actually, for a quick word. They can discuss the race between themselves as much as me having to speak to them. Right, you can argue we had two winners of that race, Norbert Kirsch and Lucas Harne. Welcome both to the interview room. We'll break with tradition and start with Lucas as the runner-up, the second-place driver. Lucas, so near to a win, but it wasn't quite. You just lost out at that last corner. Bad luck.
Yeah, I had I make a mistake, and it was really, it was shit for me, yeah. But I have to be happy for second position, and we will look in front, and we will be faster in the future.
I really thought you had it under control because the gap going on to the last lap seemed a big one. But Norbert, what a last lap. Were you convinced you were going to be able to make that move, or was that a bit of luck?
No, it was pure luck. You know, I was looking at the gap and it was too big already when I started to chase down Lucas. But then, I see he's making some mistakes. You know, locking up the brakes here and there, and I was gaining more time on him than I expected. So I get really close in the last lap, but you know, I was like, no way, unless he makes a mistake, no way. And then we come to the last turn, and he still had like two trucks lengths, or you know, he was safe. You know, Lucas, next time take it safe. You know, it would have been your race.
Yeah, I will do it, and I will be in the front of you. Yeah.
Yes, because I mean, I had no chance. So I was really lucky that he made a mistake.
Yeah, it was my mistake.
Yeah. And then you know, I could go on the inside, try to leave him space on the outside. You know, but as well have a good exit and try to accelerate quickly over the line. So yeah, it worked out. It's good, and it's a huge step in the championship. You know, it's really, really important for me because Now Manuel lost some points on the first race as well, and now he lost some points on the second race as well to me. So I think now I have a quite good gap in the championship. So this was a really important weekend.
For sure. And Lucas, I was saying on the last few laps in the commentary of the race, if you didn't win, you have some explaining to do with your father, for Jochen. He's not going to be impressed by that. So you have to go and explain yourself to your dad now.
Yeah, of course. It's myself. Yeah, I do it. And yeah, I will learn about it and do it better in the future. Yeah, it's yeah, you have to learn from these situations. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we have to also make the point, Norbert has been racing in real world tracks and on sims for a long, long time. You're a relative newcomer to track racing, aren't you? Only 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah, of course.
Well, guys, it was a great race to watch. Lucas, bad luck. So close to a win. Norbert, congratulations. A 4th victory of the championship. Well done, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye. So
thanks to Lucas Harne, to Norbert Kisch, and we'll let them leave the English channel, go and be interviewed elsewhere. And let's have a word also with Bjorn Teichhaus, who had a really busy race, starting, of course, from pole position and showing really good pace. Bjorn, tell us a little about your race. You had a lot of battles all the way through.
Yes, I have how you say it, my CPU. He has a problem. Next week I have a new one.
Okay.
At the start, you hit the brake and you give gas. So at the same time to get your turbo pressure high. But at the start, my connection, how do you say it? It was gone. I was standing still. So the start was very bad. In the race, I see everybody going like in a drift in the corner. Then I know there's a problem. And then, pling, I'm back on the track. It was very crazy. But yeah, the fights were good. It was a nice race.
Yeah, we saw on the formation lap your truck disappearing, coming back a little, so that explains the CPU problem that you explained. But what was really good was to see the pace that you had running really well in the first race and being able to fight in race 2. So you must be pleased.
Yeah. When my computer was good, it was it was better, so I can follow a little bit with the guys, but. There was no it was fun to do. It's always fun to drive here, so yeah, I hope next time better.
Excellent. Bjorn, well done. Good to talk to you. Well done.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The Racing Driver's Book of Excuses used to include things like, oil on the road or caught out by a brake problem, but increasingly we have to add internet-related problems to this, don't we, with drivers disconnecting or now CPU problem. But it does throw everything up in the air if you can't really see what's going on around you or see all the data on your screen. So 2 great races and what a last corner of race 2. Well, the championship has effectively 2 more events still to go, but we have Harama next. That is on the 7th of March. And that is going to be perhaps where we see Norbert Kisch maybe even crowned as the champion, although on home soil, Jose Villa and certainly Manuel Alvarez will be wanting to fight back and try and take victories and points away from Norbert Kisch, close that gap back down again in the championship. And then remember that on March the 28th, we have the grand final for the best 10 in the real championship against the best 10 in the sim championship as well. So we've got that to look forward to on the 28th of March. March the 7th, though, is the next round of the ETRC Digital Racing Challenge. It'll be from a virtual Harama with Norbert Kisch, the man they've all got to beat once again. Thanks for your company today from Le Mans. Hope you've enjoyed track racing as it should be. Exciting, dramatic, right the way through to the checkered flag. We'll see you on March the 7th. For now, it's goodbye.